My Hero Academia, 10 times everything went according to plan. Whether by serendipity or careful planning, things can fall into place just right when it comes to My Hero Academia. Whether in fiction or in reality, it's rare for plans to go perfectly. The popular anime series My Hero Academia displays many examples of that, with Heroes Society itself pointing out just how badly things can become. Even the existence of the symbol of peace is a case of good intentions that make matters worse. Sometimes, whether by serendipity or careful planning, things do fall into place just right. Heroes and villains alike succeed in their goals, though some instances are far more notable than others. 10. Yoichi Shigaraki manages to create the only weapon that can stop his brother. The first user of One for All, Yoichi Shigaraki knows he is too weak to stand up to his malevolent brother. All for One. When he receives the stockpile quirk from his brother, he comes up with a long-term plan, his only hope to stop the powerful villain. He passes on his quirk to another as a torch of responsibility and a pledge of strength. Hoping that, in this way, the quirk will become strong enough to be a match for All for One. It seems like a crazy plan, and yet, it works perfectly. The 8th user of the quirk. All Might even significantly injures All for One. It doesn't stop All for One forever, but it still speaks volumes of how much damage Yoichi indirectly managed to do to his brother. 9. Izuku steals an unexpected win in the first stage of the UA Sports Festival. One for All may be a quirk capable of handling All for One, but it's not at all easy to use. The 9th inheritor of the quirk. Izuku Midoriya has significant trouble with it, as the quirk shatters his bones. Aware of his limits, Izuku pursues a different strategy during the obstacle course in the first stage of the UA Sports Festival. He doesn't use his quirk at all against the robots. Instead, he picks up a piece of metal remaining from the previously destroyed ones and uses it as a way to fight his way through. In a stroke of genius, he keeps it as he moves forward, which proves to be an excellent decision. In the final part of the obstacle course, he uses the mines that were supposed to hinder him as a way to propel himself forward. With the metal slab protecting him. This leads to him stealing an unexpected win from Shoto Todoroki and Katsuki Bakugo. 8. The hero killer Stain spreads his message all throughout society. Kaizo Makaguro, also known as the hero killer Stain, is the first major villain Izuku, Shoto, and Tenya Ida have to face on their own. Determined to purge society from false heroes, he brutally hunts down his targets. He kills 17 pro-heroes and cripples 24 before he is finally stopped, but even if he is arrested and sent to Tartarus, his influence still spreads. His message makes people like Spinner, Himiko Toga, and Dabi join the League, and his dream is ultimately accomplished through them. 7. The League of Villains captures Katsuki Bakugo at the forest training camp. The UA Sports Tournament doesn't go great for Izuku's childhood bully, Katsuki Bakugo, even if he is the official winner. He reacts poorly when Shoto Todoroki practically throws their match, leading his teachers to bind and gag him on the podium. This makes him a target for the League of Villains. While the students are at the forest training camp, the Vanguard Action Squad attacks them. Not everything goes smoothly for the League, as Muscular, Mustard, and Moonfish are captured. And Fumikage Tokoyami escapes. Mr. Compress captures Katsuki anyway, taking him to the lair of the League of Villains. Katsuki refuses to join their side, but in the big picture, that doesn't matter so much. The whole incident may have very well been part of a greater scheme, orchestrated by All for One to engineer All Might's fall and prepare Tamura Shigaraki as his successor. 6. Class 1A manages to make Eri smile through their performance. Not every success is accomplished through force of arms. After the raid on the Shai Hasaikai leads to many losses, including the death of Sir Nightai, the students of Class 1A prepare a song for the U.A. school festival, with the intention of lifting everyone's spirits. While Gentle Criminal and La Brava almost manage to interrupt the festival, they are foiled by Deku. Class 1A's song is a great success. And perhaps the most important thing is that it finally makes young Eri smile, freeing her from the toxic influence of her previous captor, Overhaul. While she still has a long way to go before she can heal from her trauma, she now has hope and believes in her future. 5. Hitoshi Shinso manages to join the hero course. Hero society isn't perfect, and one of the worst things about it is its attitude toward quirks perceived as villainous. Hitoshi Shinso is looked down upon for his quirk. Brainwashing. Even so, he doesn't give up, clinging to his dream to become a hero. He originally fails in the UA entrance exam, but his performance in the sports festival earns him the attention of pro-hero Eraserhead anyway. With Eraserhead's help, he is finally closer to accomplishing his dream and is set to join the hero course starting his second year. 4. Shoto Todoroki becomes his father's intern despite their history of abuse. The product of a quirk marriage between pro-hero Endeavor and his wife Rei, Shoto Todoroki resents his father for his abusive upbringing. This makes him refuse to use the fire he perceives as belonging to Endeavor. With Izuku's help, Shoto has an epiphany and realizes he wants to be a hero, to follow his own path, regardless of his father's desires. Aware that he is unpracticed with his pyrokinesis because of his previous actions, he accepts to intern with Endeavor despite his personal misgivings. This has the desired result, as Shoto begins to show massive improvement with the fire side of his quirk. 3. All for One turns Tamura Shigaraki into the perfect successor and vessel. It's hard to identify a more elaborate and wicked scheme than All for One's grooming of the young Tenko, Shimura. He tracks down Tenko specifically to spite All Might, as Tenko is the grandchild of All Might's mentor, Nana. This decision turns out to be very useful and he is severely wounded by the symbol of peace. All for One decides to turn Tenko into his vessel, and he spends many years continuing to build up Tenko's hatred of society and his desire to destroy. Tenko's mental instability leaves him vulnerable to All for One's manipulations. After he receives All for One's quirk, he is turned into a vessel of the malevolent villain, becoming as much of a victim of his sensei as the rest of society is. 2. Dabi accomplishes his revenge and practically topples hero society. From his first appearances in MHA, the scarred villain Dabi birthed many conspiracy theories, with the most prominent one identifying him as Endeavor's. This turned out to be true. Dabi's true name is Tuya Todoroki, and much like his brother, Shoto, he suffered from an abusive upbringing at the hands of their father. This leaves him with a psychotic thirst for revenge. Primarily on Endeavor, but also on the society that has failed him. His elaborate scheme works out perfectly, as the revelation of Endeavor's abuse during the Paranormal Liberation War arc shatters the public's faith in heroes. It's ironic, but the knowledge of Endeavor's monstrous behavior does almost as much damage as Shigaraki's war, if not more. 1. Izuku Midoriya grows into his potential a true hero. My Hero Academia is hard on the heroes, particularly in the final arcs of the story. Izuku isn't exempt from grief and pain. Regardless of the ups and downs, of everything he has to endure, there's one thing that sticks out throughout Izuku's journey. He succeeds in becoming a hero, just like he always wanted. With hero society on the decline, the title carries less weight. For Izuku, heroism was never about that. He just wants to help people, and he has done so, many times. Perhaps it wasn't always in the best way. But he has grown and learned a lot throughout the anime. Izuku was always a hero at heart, and he is finally showing his true potential.